ready to get started?
Thank you, that actually would have been helpful, but everything was below the sea.
Good.
Congressman.
All right. So y'all just we'll make sure you get back down.
Okay.
Good to see you as well.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. This might be a little bit disjointed. As you've seen, we've got some folks coming who, real people with real stories about the challenges they're having and getting their services taken care of and getting their questions answered. Our concern is that it's only going to get worse. The Trump administration has fired 7,000 Social Security Administration employees already, and they're continuing to fire even more. The concern we have is that even though they'd been working overtime to bring down the length of time it took for responses, especially during the Biden administration, they made great headway. Governor Martin O'Malley was leading that effort. But now that the Trump administration's come in, they're firing people, people who answer the phones, people who would open up the offices so people could come and walk in. And we just heard one example of that scenario just a minute ago about someone trying to walk in and not being able to do it. So people can't get the services they need if the staffing is inadequate. We know it's always been a challenge, or has been for some time. This is just making the problem worse. And the key point to remember, though, is that people have real needs. That, this isn't spending money on the side for a lot of folks. They need this for rent, they need it for food, they need it to pay their bills. And so we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to bring this to the public's attention, to make sure that the Trump administration hears how important this is, to make sure we have the right staffing levels, to make sure that people get the services they need. So I wanted to bring up Deborah Williams, and I want to thank her for making the effort to get up the hill so she could come and speak to you. She's had challenges with disability cases since November 2023, and she's faced homelessness at times as well. But I want to give her a chance to come up and tell you what's been going on for her so she can give you a real insight into what's happening with these cases. Ms. Williams?
Thank you, Congressman Ivey. As he stated, I filed for the second time for a disability claim. I was denied the first time, but I never received the actual letter outlining the reasons for my denial. But from what I was told, when I was able to get someone on the phone after like a 2-hour wait, I was told that even though they recognize I have a disability, it's not to the point that I can't work. And then when I do finally get another job after almost a year, unfortunately it was with the federal government, and as you know in the news, I was a probationary employee. I had 1 month of service, and I was terminated after 1 month, reinstated, and then terminated again on 4/10. So I'm still waiting to see if I can get Social Security, because like Congressman Ivey said, I need it for rent, because I still do not have a stable place to live, and I have other bills that need to be paid as well. So it is a very vital source for me to get this back in action. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, let's hold up a second. Yeah, yeah, let's do this together here. Thank you. And they may have questions for her after they might want to ask you something. This is make sure you get down there okay. Excellent. So we're going to move forward with this. I apologize about the wind, but that's what spring is like in the DC area. But definitely want to make sure we have a chance to hear from all of our speakers here. My next speaker is someone I'm enormously proud of, and she's doing an outstanding job. It's Council Member Jolene Ivey.
Thank you, sweetie. You know, listening to Miss Williams' story, don't you just get whiplash, right? And I think that's what we're all experiencing these days. You know, one thing that Glenn has been saying lately is, are you any better off today than you were 4 months ago? Not 4 years ago, 4 months ago. And this is part of the chaos, and the chaos is intentional. So when it comes to Social Security recipients, and we have about 100,000 of them in Prince George's County, not counting the 45,000 people who get the disability payments. You know, these are people who are relying on this money, but they can't rely on the government right now to provide the services to them that they have earned. So I'm sorry that we have to be here today, but I'm glad to be able to stand with my colleagues, to stand with the public against what the Trump administration is doing to ordinary people every day. Thank you.
Thank you. And next I want to bring up the other at-large council member, Calvin Hawkins.
Congressman Ivey, thank you for this opportunity to stand with my colleagues and some of our state representatives to talk about this important problem, not just impacting Prince George's County, but impacting our country. You've heard from our council member at large, Ivey, talk about the same concerns we all have. And what I would ask of our president, understand the impact of the work you all are doing. Your initiatives are disrupting families, senior citizens who rely on their Social Security, disability individuals relying on their Social Security. Can anyone answer the question, where is Martin O'Malley when we need him the most?
All right, and I'd like to bring up District 4 Council Member Ingrid Watson.
Thank you. And thank you, Congressman Ivey, for your leadership and for bringing us all together today. I stand before you not only as the council member representing the hardworking people of District 4, but as a daughter, a mother, and a neighbor. Someone who hears every single day from residents who rely on Social Security just to get by. Social Security makes it possible for so many in our community to stay in their homes, to afford their medicine, and quite frankly, to live with dignity. In Prince George's and across the country, millions of Americans have paid into Social Security their entire lives, and they have kept their end of the bargain, and we must fight to help them keep ensure what's rightfully theirs. What is happening in Washington is not leadership, it's negligence. And now we're hearing for a push for even more cuts. Many of the frontline people who answer phones, meet with residents, and help untangle complex issues have been pushed out. People just don't know what's coming next, and that anxiety, that fear is what makes these cuts so cruel. I applaud Congressman Ivey, my colleagues, the delegates from the state, for standing up when it counts, for speaking truth to power and drawing attention to an issue that couldn't be more important. I'm proud to stand in the trenches with him and my colleagues. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Oh, I knew it was coming. But a nice catch, you guys. Gotta admit, yeah. All right, next we have Delegate Ashanti Martinez.
Thank you, Congressman, and good afternoon. I'm Delegate Ashanti Martinez, and I'm here today because the fight for Social Security is not abstract. It's personal. We just heard from Ms. Williams about the impact this will have, the cuts, and it's personal for over 1 million Marylanders who depend on it to survive. Let's be very clear. What Doge and Elon Musk are pushing is not about reform. It's reckless power play that threatens the dignity of working families, seniors, veterans, because Social Security is not a luxury. It's a promise. It's a fabric within our safety net that all Marylanders who pay in have earned throughout their lifetime of work, sacrifice, and service. While billionaires blast off into space and hoard tax breaks, our communities are being told to tighten our belts. That's not progress, it's exploitation. If Congress won't act, the Republican Congress won't act to protect Social Security, states like Maryland will step up. And we will fight to make sure that our seniors are safe, that our benefits are secure, and no one has to grow old in poverty while billionaires' bottom lines grow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now, Delegate Ann Healy.
Thank you so much, Congressman Ivey, and for bringing us together today to address this really crucial issue. I'm probably the oldest person here. I do qualify for Social Security. Fortunately, I'm still working. I'm still in the legislature. But I want to say that it's not just the people who depend on it, which everyone has spoken to, the people who depend on it for their disability. That is the hardest thing, because when a person is disabled and they can't get their care or they can't get their information, they can become really homeless, and in a very bad way. The other thing is, I want to make a mention, I know we're going to have people from the unions in a minute, but all these layoffs, the stress that it is creating for the people who work here in this building is horrible, absolutely horrible. Anybody who has ever worked at a place where they didn't have enough people doing the job, and all the stress that comes from trying to do more with less, and knowing that you're only human and you can only do so much, and you see the needs growing every day, that is heartbreaking for the workers. They are being the ones that have to face the people who are upset and angry because they've lost their benefits, or they don't know how to find out what they're supposed to get, and they are the ones that have to deal with it. So I want to stand strong with the Maryland legislature, with the state government, with our congressmen and our Congress and our county government. Everybody has to pull together now, because we are facing something that we have never seen before. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I want to thank my colleagues in state and local government for their comments and the great work that they do day in and day out, making the difference here in Prince George's County and across the state. I do want to mention, too, I want to thank former President Biden for his speech last night that I thought really highlighted the levels of concern here and helped to bring a national focus to these challenges. And House Democrats across the country, like us today, are doing this in their districts all over the United States to try and make sure that we get the point out that in offices like this, the staff cuts are undermining the ability to do the job right, to provide the people with the services that they've earned and deserve, and to make sure that we do everything we can to improve the staffing, to protect it from where it is, from going down from where it is, in fact, push it back up in the near future. And as Delegate Healy said, we got our friends here from the labor side of this. We've got people, we've talked about services that customers have trouble getting, but there's definitely the side of employees being on the crosshairs of these cuts. So we want to make sure we give them a chance to speak. So I'll start with, I guess, AFGE. Come on up, give us some comments, introduce yourself, and tell us what you all are
Thank you
doing.
so much. My name is Shadon Taylor. I'm the local president of 3615 out of District 14 of AFGE. Now, like you said, you're probably the oldest person here. I think I'm about the youngest person here. My call to action would be to the younger people, because I think so often Social Security is correlated with seniors. But there's a lot of people such as myself who's not old enough to retire, who has put in hours and years in the federal government, but we so often get left behind, right? The thing is this, when I get to the age where I can retire, I need Social Security to be there for me to collect on. What about the mothers who have premature babies? They can go and collect from Social Security if they can't go back to work because their children are premature. What about the wives who get married and have to come here to Social Security to change their last names? This affects so many people. It's just not our seniors. So my call today would be to the younger employees, the younger people. Let's get together and let them know, hands off Social Security.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. By the way, I think we just celebrated the 80th anniversary of FDR and his administration. Social Security was one of the great innovations that his administration brought, and it's been outstanding from the standpoint of reducing poverty among our seniors across the country, helping with children. I think we've got 76,000 plus retirees here in my district alone that benefit from Social Security. And as you heard a moment ago, disabled workers, over 10,000 just here in the 4th Congressional District. I also wanted to invite up our friends from Norfolk. Come on up, give us some comments about your views on this and your employees. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Angela Hyman. I'm with the National Active and Retired Federal Employee Association, specifically Chapter 1747, which represents PG County and Bowie and Anne Arundel County and Crofton. Our association is for the people. We support Congressman Glenn Ivey, and thank you for your invitation to be here. We support good government. We need good government for the people. As my previous colleague stated, we need it from the cradle to the grave as far as Social Security. So our association, we represent elderly who are retired, who are annuitants, who are trying to get their Social Security checks, the spouses that are with them, as well as the younger federal workers who are working, who are paying into Social Security. We need offices open. We need employees in the offices to help when we call and when we come to the offices. We don't need closure of offices at this time. We know that Social Security works for the entire country. So for those out there who even work private industry, if you're not federal government, you definitely are touched by Social Security. So Social Security is a good thing. Change is good, but it's good when it affects and it impacts on the good side the people that it is intended to help. So we stand with Congressman Glenn Ivey and all of his staff and their efforts. Thank you for your leadership and your service. And please, let's try to save Social Security and the federal government. We need good government for the people.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to first thank the congressman and all the city council members and the elected officials here and the colleagues from the various other unions. My name is Gary Roundtree Sr. I am the current Maryland Federation President of National Active and Retired Federal Employees Association. We are an organization consisting of active, currently working federal employees in every government agency and federal civil service renewed retirees. Many of our members are elderly. Many of them have many ailments, from multiple sclerosis to prostate cancer to skin cancer, melanoma, that depend on Social Security every month to survive. I'm going to finish with a quote from Abraham Lincoln during the Great Civil War. We must bear those that have shedded blood for the freedoms, liberties of this country. What you do to the least matters the most. I am my neighbor's keepers. Thank you, Congressman, for allowing me an opportunity to address you and the friends. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Roundtree. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Roundtree. And I want to thank all of our participants here from the labor movement, from the elected officials. I guess normally we would stop and take questions. I don't know if you guys want to do it from this standpoint, or if you want to break it down. Are you doing okay with the sound? Everybody's doing okay? Okay, well, why don't we take a few questions then? I am not sure about this specific office, but I do believe so, and I know they've had restricted hours. In fact, we were just talking about that a few minutes ago, how difficult it is to get in there because, you know, they have reduced office hours, and also they're not able to reach them 24 hours a day using, you know, phone systems or other methods like that. So the 7,000 reduction is offices across the country, and has reduced the ability for people to get access to people when they need to have questions answered. So, and I guess we've got the information there. You want to bring it around here? So overall impact nationwide, absolutely. Other questions? I'll hold one in. Sure. This is just for my congressional district. So this doesn't even include the outer half of Prince George's County that Steny Hoyer represents. So we've got 76,000 retirees. We've got over 100,000 altogether who are receiving Social Security benefits just in this congressional district, or roughly 98,000 plus. We've got children who get benefits, disabled workers, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, is over 10,000. Spouses from people who are collecting Social Security but passed, and widows as well. So this is the information district by district. What we did was we broke this down for every congressional district in the country. And as I mentioned, we're having press conferences like this, House Democrats anyway, across the country, bringing this information to the public's attention so that they know how the reach is Social Security has and the great impact that it has on communities. Well, Social Security, unemployment benefits come in a different track, and so that is going to be a challenge for the state, I think. You get Social Security benefits for different reasons, like age of retirement or special scenarios, like you've been declared disabled or one of your beneficiaries passed. For example, if a Social Security recipient passes away and he's got children under age, there may be scenarios where the children can get benefits. So it's a little different than unemployment, but it's a big part of that same safety net that's critical. Same with Medicare and Medicaid, which are also being attacked. Medicaid in particular, they're looking at, the Republicans are looking to do $881 billion in cuts nationwide, which will undermine health care opportunities for people like this, but for just people across the board. So, sorry? We need them to reinstate these people, and that's true for government employee cuts across the board. We've got a number of federal cases that are going. I think it's up to about 160 now. Many of them have injunctions in place so they can't keep reducing employees, but not all of them. And so some of these cuts where we've had these reductions take place, that's because of that. But I think really the bottom line is we can't fix it given the track that Trump is on unless current Republicans change the way they are voting and stop supporting these kinds of cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid and vote with the Democrats. That's why we're out here, is to try and persuade them to change sides and vote with us to protect these critical benefits for the American people. Well, I've heard a variety of reasons. Our office takes calls from constituents that need assistance. We've got, frankly, dozens of these that have come in, and we try and help people cut through the red tape to get the assistance that they need. But it's a real challenge, and it was a challenge even before the cuts were put in place. And sometimes, even when congressional offices reach out, we still have trouble getting through too. So if they continue to reduce the number of employees, the more they do that, the harder it gets. And the harder it is for people to get the benefits that they need. Other? You have a colleague overseas right now trying to get the release of a Maryland man in the prison in the South. Is your thoughts about that? Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate Chris going over to El Salvador and try and force the next steps in the release of Kilmar so he can come back to the United States. It's really pathetic that the Trump administration continues to drag its feet on this. If they had just gone ahead and taken it to court from the start, we'd been done by now, because this is like we've been fighting about this for 3 weeks. But the Supreme Court said by a vote of 9-0, he should get a day in court. He gets due process. Let him come back. The judge that's been handling the case here locally, Judge Paula Zenas, has been trying to walk them through this, to force them to provide basic information. It took them two or three days just to tell her that he was still alive. So, I mean, it's ridiculous in the way they're handling this. The Supreme Court said they should do it. The local judge has said that they need to do it. Basic common sense and the rule of law say they need to do it. I think they just need to stop, dragging their feet. And the last point on this, I'm sick of the character assassination they're launching against this guy from the press conference room. So, they come out every day and they say he's a gang member, this, that, and the other, but they will never come into court and say it. Nobody will come and say it under oath because they don't have the guts to do it there, and they know they can be held accountable if they do that. So they should put up or shut up, bring him back, give him his day in court, and if they have the guts and the information, the evidence to back it up, present it in court and let a judge make the decision. But until then, let's get done with this. Let's move on and get this done.
To that same point, by the Trump administration defying the Supreme Court, what message do you think that's sending, and why do you think other folks should be?
Well, we have to see what happens when they bring this back up, but they shouldn't have needed to be prompted by the Supreme Court. This is normally a district court judge ordering something to happen. That's all that you need. It gets done because, we're trying to move through in an efficient way. And it was really straightforward that they took him out of here illegally. In fact, they admitted that they took him out of here illegally. So bring him back and give him his day. But, it looks like it's going to have to go back up to the Supreme Court again. And I think also this local judge, she might have to hold people in contempt of court before they get off the dime here. But we'll see what they do. But the rule of law dictates and separation of powers, our basic constitutional structure. The Trump administration should stop this. They should comply with the law. They should bring him back and give him his day in court. Anything else? All right. Thanks so much, everybody.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Thank you again, Representative Ivey. I just wanted to give you my contact information.
Thank you. Appreciate it. My pleasure. Thank you for coming.
If there's anything that you think that we should know about your district, be more than happy to reach out and talk about it. This is my thank you so much. I cover your district,
okay.
So I'm always saying good news is also news.
Yeah.
So I know there's a lot of things happening in Prince George's County. We'd love to see more about it and hear more about it and give it a platform.
We love Channel 9. We're big fans of you all. Ms. Foster comes out periodically and makes the star turns, and we all appreciate that. But seriously, you guys are, I think you're top notch, top rated in Prince George's County, if I'm not mistaken. So we thank the work that you're doing and keep up the good work. We'll definitely look forward to working with you.
Yes, sir.
All right, now, take care.
Thank you.
I don't have that documented. They even took away my little number, but nobody called me, so I called where I could. They said, "You're just going to call you."
Here's my contact information.
Oh, thank
you
so
have
much.
another card on you?
I do.
I think we were talking yesterday. I think I sent you a
And
text.
we spoke on the phone.
Yeah, gotcha.
All right.
Appreciate you being here, and we'll be sure to reach out. Hey, Praveen. How you
doing?
Good to see you, man.
I'm like, hey.
Let me grab her.
All right. Speakerphone. I'm gonna have some fun because it's normally I never answer.
I am resident of the county, so thank you.
Do you have a minute?
Yes.
So much.
Start a fund 3 months before your birthday, up to 3 months after. Now 65.
How you doing?
Hello.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate this. All right, so we'll get right into it. Before you get started, can you just tell me your name and your title?
I'm Shadon Taylor, the local president of 3615 out of District 14, located at 80 F Street.
All right, and just for clarity, can you spell your name?
SHADONE Taylor, TAYLOR.
Right, and so we're just talking about proposed cuts to the Social Security Administration, the impact it's having on folks being able to get their benefits and things like that. But can you talk a little bit about some of the other ways you think this impacts people and why not just elders should be concerned?
Right. So, like I said, I think Social Security Administration is correlated with the elder. But as a younger employee, people need to understand that this affects people all throughout the United States at all ages. One of the things that I like for people to remember, such as myself, I've been in the federal government for 20 years, working at the federal government, at Social Security Administration, actually for 20 years. And with that, I put into Social Security. At some point in time, I would like to be able to retire and collect on the money that in a system that I have paid into. Even with the people who aren't federal government employees, they need to understand that it should be hands off of Social Security just for the sake that they also pay into this system where at some point in time they might need this system. For an example, I'll give you, people who, like I said, women who get married, they have to come to the Social Security office and be able to provide information and change their last names. Not only that, you have people who come who have babies. When your child is born and they're underweight, you are able to come to the Social Security Administration and they offer payments for that. God forbid any of us become disabled. But if something should happen, you want to be able to collect off of a system that you have put money into to be able to help you live life. I'm not going to say a comfortable life, but life. You should be able to collect those benefits. What I will say is that as a Social Security employee, it is hard. It is hard right now with going to work every day, not knowing if your job is still going to be there. So, with the cuts, my biggest thing is to the younger generation, stand up with us and say hands off Social Security.
Are you seeing any holdups, right now? We've heard about some people who said that they haven't been able to get in touch with offices, but people that are trying to get their IDs changed, are having to deal with these holdups as well because of fewer staff.
Right. So today I met this guy here who came out and asked what was going on, and we talked about what was going on. And that was one of the things that he said. He said he came in and was told that they don't do walk-ins anymore. The thing that's scary about that is that sometimes you have to be able to walk in. Where you're talking about the elderly community, they aren't aware of how to use the internet to be able to make small changes. I've had people reach out to me to ask me, hey, I need my parents' address changed. What should I do? You're going to have to bring them in. With a lot of the office that's closing down, imagine being 85 years old and the nearest Social Security office is a 40-mile drive. It's harmful. It's harmful, and that's why I am here today to say hands off to Social Security.
Thank you so much, Ms. Taylor. I really appreciate your time.
Thank
you for doing this.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah. All right. So we're going to there's a senior center that we're going to be going to down in Silver Springs, about 25, 30 minutes away. They say that we can talk to them.
Why am I not covered? Well, this is the thing. I'll run into
But
last
in
month,
case nobody's there.
because they did get some other welcome to Medicare, and I was like, okay, this is no information, this is no card. I did get my card. You need to walk you to your car?
Oh, actually. Okay.
My card last month, March, yes. And I also got my Social Security.
Oh, good.
Yes. And I did get, it might have been late February. I did get my 2004 book that came out in 2004. I mean, months after I forget. About 6 months later, I'm getting the back. It's too late for me to sign up for anything. I got Part A and Part B. But I also got $1,200. Is that annual or a month? every clearance in a day.
Yeah.
Why is it taking? And that was in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's done, fingerprintings and all. I used to work in the top security area, well, level 3 security, in the background check. And all this was done within appeals, but not so with Social Security. Although they had this information told me from a letter that I got, and I'll give you a copy of it, that they took me off Affordable Care Act, Medicaid, put me on, now telling me, back on my birthday or October 1st, but no one was ever telling me that until I got a letter last month, and I'm not sure if this is accurate or not, but I do have some time. Okay. This took 5.5 months pretty much to get me this information, which I felt I had no coverage. But still, if I had gone to a doctor, it was well worth the insurance. Right. I would have had to go somewhere else because I didn't have my card. Right. As long as it's home.
Okay, so once we get that, then we can start working to help you out.
Well, that's my big concern is I didn't abuse the Affordable Care Act because I'm a healthy person. I only want when it really works. Otherwise, I've got it because but then I started to notice that because one of the things I worked in Williams stores and I've always knew about insurance.
Look at your story as well whenever, you know, you're done doing it.
Because I have to take care of, I've got a mother who's undergone a disease care, and I've got a brother who's in the Coast Guard. He received 100% disability. So they said, well, your contract's not working, get on affordable care, which is good. It didn't charge me. So now I'm going to see a bill for at least $1,200 a month. They said, but you can apply for low income. How about zero income? Well, if it's $1,200 a month, I can't really afford that. I can, but I'm 40.
Okay.
Whereas before, I was paying nothing, but I never ever almost used it.
Yeah. All right.
So that's
I've got to run, but we will figure it out, and I'll catch up with you guys later.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
So what else can I tell you other than it seems like the system is antiquated?
Yeah. No, and that's a lot of things I've heard. Like I said, I've worked in the system before, and some of what you're saying sounds wrong from my experience. And so, yes, please. Sorry. So I want to be able to look into this for you to see what we can do to find you, because there is low-income supports, but also if you're Medicaid eligible, Medicare cannot charge you that much. It's like $20 a month. Like it's not like they have limits in place for people who are low income. So I want to be able to look into that for you. So I will definitely be in touch. But I know this gentleman also was
Do you have a
interested in
moment?
hearing from you.
Like I said, you came out here to, you know, we'll talk about the issues with Social Security and everything.
I just want to mention I was actually, like I am somewhat low income. You see what the red lettered marquee is?
Yes.
That's a church that every Wednesday gives out food on the pantry. So I was over there getting food, trying to supplement. And I just got a little box of food. Usually they can give out bigger boxes, but I guess donations are low. So on my way back, I stopped at Lidl, got a few things, and I'm seeing, wow, I got to find out what this is. It's in my neighborhood.
I'm glad you did. No, this is important because this is what we're here to do.
Whatever I can contribute.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate it. We will definitely help you work through that. I don't want to.
I'm Russell Whiting.
I have your name and your phone number. I'm Beth McKenzie. My business cards are in my car somewhere.
I'm sure. Well, you can take a picture of me, send it to me.
Oh, I have your phone number. That is perfect for me.
Lanham.
Yes.
So this is Lanham Greenbelt
Or Seabrook or
Seabrook.
Yeah, I think it's
any number of things. So, but no, hearing your story I think is really important for the public. If you're okay with sharing it.
at the moment.
Well, am I going to be on TV?
Yes. We're with Channel 9 News.
Yeah, recognized.
WSA 9. So
I would almost rather not because I could give you information that you could explore, provide you information, and say I'm not quite ready to be a celebrity for this.
well, no, you'd be basically an advocate, right? You'd be basically kind of somebody that a lot of people I would imagine be able to identify with who's also having trouble getting in touch with Social Security offices. From what I understand, that's what you've had some issues trying to get in touch with them to make sure you're able to get your benefits.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we would just love to hear that experience if that's
Well,
okay.
actually, I think might be interesting. We got a shot of the sign, which looks like looks like they're not there anymore. There's no lettering. I mean, it looks so faded, as if it's closed. I mean, we see Partners is bright, and one down there looks, I think it's a church.
Yeah, luckily my partner was able to get some of that
Get a picture of it. Says maybe you can check out other Social Security offices around the state or the county that I'm not sure where they're at.
Do you say you live in this area?
Yeah, we're about 5 minutes away.
Okay.
Good luck, I don't know. Do you know this area? Thank you. Have a healthy day.
Yeah, like I said, we'd like to hear from you a little bit. That's okay.
Awful location. You got a screen on that?
Hello, hello.
Boys, you're gonna hear a lot of rappers
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check. Can you talk about some of the issues you have? You say you live around here. You try to get in touch with Social Security office here, and so what happened?
Well, yes. When I turned 65, I got a robocall from my healthcare provider indicating that my Medicaid coverage had been terminated and I should investigate getting insurance. And when I called them up to find out, well, what has happened, because every year I was on affordable care.